Has your approach in keeping this as simple and as normal as possible been what you expected, easier, more difficult?
Yeah, I think as expected. It was nice to clinch a couple weeks ago. I think the energy in the clubhouse stayed positive and consistent. And we kind of have, kept our sights on tomorrow and this weekend while still trying to win ball games, and ended up winning 92. So I think just focusing at the task in front of us has been big for the entire team, myself included. Been trying to do that all year. That goes all the way down to only knowing what team I'm starting against the upcoming start, not 2-3 in front. So that's just kind of the mentality I've been trying to approach things with, and continue to do the same.
Kind of along those lines, Shane, you actually have postseason experience compared to a lot of the guys. What can you take from that you can share? Will you even do that?
Yeah, a little bit of experience, albeit not so much. So I'm excited to go out there. It's going to be an entirely different feel as opposed to 2020. Just to feed off the energy of the Cleveland crowd and my teammates, most importantly, is something I'm excited to share with them. Not lose sight of how special of an opportunity this is to just be out there representing the city, and to take advantage of an opportunity that we've worked extremely hard for since really dating all the way back to last year and last offseason.
Obviously, youth helps, but you guys have been completely unfazed by everything to this point. Do you expect that to continue?
I think so, yeah. It seems that nothing has been too big or too small for us this year, so I really don't expect too much of a change within the clubhouse or on that field, just given the circumstances and the group that we've surrounded ourselves with, and kind of the examples that we've kind of put forth throughout the 162 game season.
When you say, I think I heard you say it'll be different than in 2020, is that just because that was the COVID year, or is there something else that makes it different?
Yeah, I think a number of things, but yeah, definitely the COVID year. No fans in the stands, a shortened season, and an entirely different roster.
What were you able to learn about the Tampa lineup, learn about yourself, and how you attacked the Tampa lineup in your last start against them?
I'll probably hold that, mostly to myself, but it's a good team, plays in a tough division. Excited for the matchup. I know they throw the ball extremely well, so I expect some tight ball games, and just my expectation out of myself, and I think the rest of the starters, is to just stay competitive throughout the game for as long as possible, to be able to hand it off to our bullpen.
Could you reflect for a moment on what you most learned from your time with Cody Kluber?
Yeah, probably a lot. But long story short, just keeping things simple, not getting overwhelmed by any situation. I think I learned a lot from just watching him on TV. I was drafted in 2016. The then Indians went on a pretty special run in 2016, so I was able to watch that intently. And he went on a personal run himself, which was pretty spectacular, that people still talk about. So just knowing him and learning him and his personality as a competitor, as a teammate, as a person, I think he's very even-keeled. He's an ultimate competitor, but doesn't let any situation get too big or too small for him.
We talked with Tito last night about how he was able to make it through finally a whole 162 game season. Inside the clubhouse, what was he like this year, and how did his presence from start to finish maybe differ in its impact than it did the last couple of years?
Tito?
Yeah.
Yeah, just I keep saying the same word, but it's just consistency. He's the model for that, and that's what allowed us as a team and as individual players to go out there and stay loose, stay consistent throughout ups and downs. There was plenty of them. There always will be throughout such a long season. So to have his energy, his drive, his competitiveness, and his confidence in us, from a guy that's been around so much baseball and so many different teams, and different payrolls and all sorts of different situations, is always confidence inspiring for us.
Did you ever crack through that Kluber veneer?
What's that?
Did you ever crack through the Kluber? You know, he's sort of quiet and, you know, just is, you know, I assume he's different around you guys, but.
Yeah. Yes. Since he's left, yeah, we've continued to hold a decent relationship, and yeah, he's great.
Can you reflect on, you know, last year you had to deal with a shoulder injury and everything, and this year, you know, you're aces again. So what was that like building up to these last 3 months in particular when you've really been good?
Yeah, it was without getting, you know, too emotional, too far into it. It was a lot for me last year. So to be able to come out this year and keep my expectations at a relatively sane level, and just to be able to go out there, make every start, try and amass as many innings as possible while staying competitive was really my main goal. And so I think any athlete, when they go through an injury, albeit big or small, tends to question certain situations or themselves or whatever it may be. So to be able to get back this year, feel like myself, and continue to work towards what I know I can be, has been big for me. It's been fulfilling, and I plan on doing that for many years to come.
Cal the other day was talking about blocking out the noise of what people of you guys over here. Just how do you approach something like that? Do you try to block it out or try to use something like that?
Yeah, I think we do a good job of blocking it out. I don't think it's too loud in general, but I just think we got a great group of guys in there. I think we play for each other. That's what's tends to be a little bit cliche in sports every now and then, but it really is the truth. I mean, you guys have seen it. It's a different type of energy in that clubhouse, and it's a very loving and competitive energy. So I think as long as we continue that, we pull for each other, we trust in each other, and that tends to kind of put us over the top and put us in advantageous situations.
Back to 2020, the players sort of led the push for the name change that obviously evolved into what it did. What's it mean in the clubhouse for you guys to be in this first year as the Guardians, make it to the playoffs, win a division championship, be in the position that you're in right now?
Yeah, it's great. I don't know if I would say it was player driven, but I would say more than anything, we just want to represent the city of Cleveland and do it well. So whatever the name on the front of the chest is, it starts with Cleveland. I think that's what's important. That's what's important to remember. And that's who we play for. We play for that city. We play for everybody in that clubhouse, front office managers, and that's what we'll continue to do.
You mentioned playing for each other. Do you think maybe your style lends itself to that? You're not sitting around for the 3-run homer. It's, hey, you got to take the extra base because I'm the whole thing.
No doubt. I think we've learned how to do that. It's not easy to do, especially in today's game and where it's trended. But for our style of baseball, we need to rely on each other and trust in each other to get the job done, to run the bases well, be smart and disciplined, put the ball in play, don't strike out, move runners over, tag up when needed and when possible. So those two kind of coincide with each other, but they're definitely necessary. Our brand of baseball and trusting each other to lean on one another.
All right, I got Stephen Kwan here.
Thank you. Sure, guys.
Yeah. Steve, tomorrow's just another game. I know you guys got to approach it that way. How do you make sure that the stage is not too big? How do you stay within yourselves, although it's now the postseason?
I think just the long season kind of lends itself to that. we've obviously played a lot of high leverage games, and we've played extra innings, games against our division rivals, and those were really intense. We had a lot of fans behind us then, so I think those experiences kind of allow these next games to not get too big and too crazy.
I was going to ask, playing for Terry Francona, and what have you most learned in this full season working with him?
Yeah. First of all, he stresses that it's a long season. Does a really good job of kind of managing our mental and our physical at the same time. We talked about it before, but I think he does a really good job of encouraging us and kind of working us along. I think he has an unbelievable feel in seeing that if like a guy is kind of down, he'll talk to them. If a team's kind of sluggish, he'll have a team meeting, but he never overloads on the meetings. The feel on him is truly amazing. He's, great first manager for me to play it for.
Does having played Tampa Bay just a week or so ago, does that give you any advantage? Does that mean anything going into this series?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely fresher in the memory of kind of how the pitchers approached us, how the hitters approached our pitchers. It's more fresh in the mind. You don't have to go back in the film to kind of see some stuff. The arms are going to be more recent, so I think all those kind of things help out, especially because they were at home with us too. So it's definitely an advantage, I would say.
Stephen, how has your game developed and evolved from a defensive standpoint this year?
Yeah, it's definitely been a little difficult, kind of playing a whole year in left. Played all in the minors and in college in center field, but obviously we have the best center fielder in baseball with Miles, so pushing over to left has been a little bit of an adjustment, but I think it's been good. Obviously we have a really good staff. Huddy kind of takes us out on the field every day, keeps us accountable with all these kind of things, and also having Miles track all that ground in left center helps a ton too. So it's just being consistent with the work, not getting overwhelmed with a lot of stuff, trusting in kind of the positioning that Huddy puts us in, and then just executing that every day and not overthinking it.
Stephen, since moving into the leadoff spot, how do you think that changed your game and how it affected the rest of the offense?
I don't know if it changed my game too much. I remember earlier in the year when I was in the 2-hole, kind of coaches were saying that a lot of the good things that I do is kind of see a lot of pitches for the guys behind us, like Jose, Franmel at the time. And I think in the leadoff spot, that just allows for that even more. Kind of see what the pitchers got that day, kind of get a feeler out for that. And, hopefully that allows for kind of the guys behind me to ambush a first pitch or just feel a little more comfortable in the box. I think that's kind of the big thing for me is just I want to give all my guys the best look I can. And then, if I get on base, that's a plus. But it's really playing the long game. We're shooting for 2 or 3 at-bats against a starter, and then hopefully we can wear him down.
You seem such a natural as a leadoff hitter. Do you hope to stay there for the rest of your career now?
It is what it is. I've been in there kind of my whole life, so it's kind of a home that I can't get away from. But, honestly, as long as I'm useful to the team, wherever in the lineup, that's all I can hope for. You obviously have kind of ideas of where you'd like to be, but at the end of the day, as long as the team's winning and, we're rolling along, it really doesn't matter.
Are there some similarities to, I think I've heard you say college ball here, whether it be the youth of your team, the style, what reminds you of college?
Yeah, 100%. I think maybe it might be a little cheesy, but first off, it's just kind of how we pull for each other. When I was in the minors, I kind of heard that Major League Ball could be really selfish. You kind of have to look out for yourself. It's not a great play. It's business first and then baseball, but here it doesn't feel like that. I think we really pull for each other. We want each other to succeed. It's not like looking over your shoulder the whole time. And then in terms of baseball, like getting the guy over. We bunt. I don't know how many times I see other teams bunt. Sac flies are a big thing. First to thirds are really big. It's the small details that are really rewarding to see pay off as opposed to just waiting for the home run or waiting for that big inning.
I know we won't see the finalized playoff roster until probably tomorrow morning, but we have seen some instances where you and Will Brennan and Miles were all in the outfield together. You're all center fielders. You're all playing different positions now. Are there unique challenges to having 3 center fielders essentially all out in the outfield like that at the same time?
I don't think so. I think if anything, it's a benefit. We understand kind of the role of what center field does, and we're able to kind of give leeway to the center fielder in those like balls in the gaps or anything. We understand our roles. I think that's a good thing that we're all had center field practice before because it kind of gives us all those different experiences, and we're not just confined to one role. So I think it helps.
What's it been like getting to know the kids in chess club, and can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Chess was kind of something I picked up last year in spring training, and it's been kind of like a really steady kind of hobby, but I knew there was levels to it. Like me and Will Benson would play, and me and him would go back and forth. But then you see these kids. These kids are really, really good. They're like top 10 in the nation in chess club, and they walk in with different confidence. They know what move you're already doing, and they're like talking smack while they're doing it. It's like there's levels to it, which is fun. And at the end of the day, also like I ask them questions about it, and they're really patient with me. They walk me through a lot of stuff, kind of like why this doesn't work, why this does work. It's been a lot of fun. Just kind of like furthering my hobby, but also they're great kids. They've been through obviously a good amount of hardship, and just being able to kind of level with them on something I think is really rewarding.
Are they here tomorrow or watching you on TV?
I hope they're here tomorrow. I know some of them. Okay, well it sounds like they're gonna be here. I know they have homecoming on Saturday, and one of them was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna skip homecoming to come." I'm like, "Don't skip homecoming." But we have the early game, so maybe they'll be able to make it out. But I think they'll be here this weekend.
Jose here as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
You good? You guys want water?
No.
Jose, after signing your long-term contract, is this the kind of ideal season you saw unfolding? With playing well and making the postseason and having all these young players kind of rally around you?
Después de firmar ese contrato, pues de alguna manera piensas que esa fue la temporada ideal que tú envisionabas, de tener estos resultados, este tipo de equipo y el tipo de jugadores jugando a tu lado.
Bueno, sí, cada año siempre quiero estar en un buen equipo y tener buenos resultados. Tú sabes, de eso es lo que se trata este juego. Todo el mundo quiere dar lo mejor. Tú sabes, en mi caso no tiene que ver si hubiese contrato o no, que ese soy yo y lo que me gusta hacer.
I don't think much of a contract has any difference in terms of what I like to do every year. I like to be in a competitive team. I like to be in the playoffs. So for me, the contract didn't change much. So I'm happy that we got the good results and we're competing, but I don't think that was an expectation for me signing or not. It's the same mentality every year.
Tito talked about over these last 9 games or so, getting guys to feel good about themselves, getting guys to be, not necessarily coasting into the last few games, but being hot all the way through and carrying that over into Friday. Do you feel like that's where you are from over these last 9 games and into Friday?
Francona comentó que lo importante de ese último juego es mantenerse en una buena rutina, mantenerse caliente y no tomar mucho descanso para no estar, como dice, perdido al comenzar el playoff. ¿Piensas que estás en un buen punto y que lograste buena continuidad durante todos estos días?
Bueno, yo diría que se jugó ayer, hoy es el único día que tenemos libre. Y nada, sí, lo que hay que seguir trabajando para seguir manteniendo esa forma y tratar de estar activo.
I mean, I feel we played yesterday, so obviously that's the best way to say that we're still, in the same rhythm, and we got to keep working, even though today we don't have a game, but we just got to keep going and keep working and keep playing the games.
Can you compare this team in 2022 to other teams from the past? What's the difference of this team?
¿Cuál es la mayor diferencia, por ejemplo, de este equipo con otros equipos del pasado con los que has jugado? Algo que te llama la atención de este equipo en particular.
Bueno, yo jugué en este equipo cuando se fue a la Serie Mundial y algunos años más cuando fuimos a playoff, pero, ¿sabes? Había muchos veteranos, había gente que sabían jugar mucho. La diferencia de ahora, de este año, es que hay muchos muchachos con demasiada energía, con mucho más. Yo soy un tipo con mucha energía. Ellos tienen más energía que yo. O sea que eso te motiva bastante. Tú ves esos muchachos con la energía que tienen y todo lo que hacen en el terreno de juego.
I mean, I've been, as you know, in different teams, 16 and a World Series, and then different playoff runs, and most of those teams were filled with veterans, and it was a different energy level. So here, with all these young guys, they have a lot more energy than I do, and I consider myself a very energetic player. So it's always energizing to play alongside them. It makes a big difference.
Have you made any progress in getting Amed his contract extension?
Si ha logrado algo que mejore en el contrato de Amed, si hay algún cambio, si ha logrado algo para garantizar el contrato de Amed.
No, yo le dije a Amed que le voy a dar 40 millones de los míos para firmarlo.
No, what I told Amed is that I'm going to give 40 millions of mine to get his contract.
What has it meant for him? Obviously, they have a great connection out there, and I know he wants to play with him for a long time. What has that connection meant for José?
Es claro que tiene una buena conexión con él, pero ¿qué significa esa conexión que tienes con Amed Rosario dentro del terreno de juego?
Bueno, Amed siempre, digamos que paramos juntos 24 horas al día, porque cuando estamos los días libres paramos juntos, después de juego estamos juntos conversando y eso, tú sabes, tenemos una buena comunicación y yo entiendo que eso es lo mejor que uno puede tener, cuando uno tiene una buena comunicación con sus compañeros, tú sabes, siempre vamos a estar en el mismo párrafo, nos vamos a entender y eso es lo que nos lleva, por eso que yo pienso que quisiera tenerlo siempre ahí.
I mean, I think what is special is because we spend close to like 24/7 together, hang out, you know, after the games on the road. You know, we're always in good communication. So I think for me the key is having that good communication and be able to spend that time with spend that time with that teammate. So that's why my interest of playing with him, because I feel the communication, the way how we interact is tremendous.
Jose, what does Tito mean to this clubhouse, and just how much of a benefit is it that he was able to make it for all of 62 this year after the last few years?
¿Qué significa para ti la presencia de Francona para este clubhouse y lo que ha podido hacer en estos últimos 162 juegos y los años anteriores?
Francona es una persona demasiado impresionante. De mi parte yo tengo 7 años, casi 8 con él, ¿sabes? Y el apoyo que siempre nos da uno y todo lo que hace, tú sabes. Para mí Francona es único. Francona ha sido mi único manager aquí en la MLB, pero como Francona es el mejor, el tipo, yo lo aprecio mucho con todo lo que hace, no solamente conmigo, sino con todos los muchachos.
I feel like I have a lot of appreciation for him. I mean, I know I'm biased because he's been my only manager, but what I see in the league, I feel like he's unique. The way how he treats me, but also how he treats all the players, it seems that it's very unique and it's very important to have that type of leadership. So it's been really impressive what he's done this year, but it doesn't surprise me because I've been with him for 7-8 years and I know that's the type of manager he is.
With all that Tito's been through for the last 3 years, do you feel excited for him to reach this moment?
Por todo lo que ha pasado Francona en problemas de salud los últimos 3 años, ¿te alegras por él que pueda tener, sabes, que esté viviendo este tipo de experiencia de nuevo en los playoffs?
Claro, ¿sabes? Me siento súper contento de que lo tenemos el año entero aquí. Claro, esto va a ser muy bonito, muy emocionante en los playoffs con él ahí.
I feel really happy for him, for what he's been through, and it's really exciting to have him over in the playoffs. And I think it's going to be very exciting, very important what we're about to do here, and it's very nice to have him around here and being able to have him throughout the year. Good.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Señor.
Josh, just what has this past week been like, being able to be in the same clubhouse as your brother?
It's been really unique, kind of something we all dreamed of as a family and as brothers. We've always wanted to play together. I think we've played one game together in our lifetime. It's honestly, like, I can't really describe the feeling of it. It's it's just so cool in a way where it's not real still. But again, like we worked hard our whole lives to kind of get to the big leagues, and to kind of be here together now, it's surreal. It's such a cool experience, and yeah, I don't know, it hasn't really hit me yet, to be honest with you. It's like he's been a part of this for months and kind of like the year. He's so accepted and so loved here already. It's beautiful to see. Like I almost try to be like invisible, so he doesn't feel like pressure of me being here, or like, you know, just his bigger brother's here. I gotta do so much to, whatever the case is. I try to be in the background for him and just let him take everything in, soak everything in, and just kind of meet everyone on his own, and to find himself here. So it's been a beautiful experience, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
Just gonna say, how did you find out he was coming up?
Called me.
What were you? I mean, I assume you weren't. Were you expecting that? You had mentioned,
Yeah.
I think the week before, that you wished he'd be celebrating with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I expected it kind of all year. I just didn't know when. I know he put the work in, and it's all credit to him. He was dedicated. He loves to play baseball. He loves to be competitive. So yeah, I was expecting it kind of at any point this year. He's such an exceptional player. He's proved it numerous amount of times, and no, I'm glad he's here with us to make this push to the World Series, and he's a big part of this.
I know not every sibling in the world would be able to spend as much time together as you guys do. I know you live together. Why does it work for you two, and how are you guys so close in that regard?
I don't know. I think we're kind of like the same person, but we're not. So we get along, but we don't. I mean, it's just typical brother stuff. Like, we're families forever, so you always stick with your family. And as the older brother, I try to guide him as much as I can. I try to get him to learn from my past experiences, whether they're good or bad, so he doesn't fall into those issues or traps or whatever the case is. So I think I'm like his learning experience in a way. I've obviously been with multiple orgs and, been with multiple teams, seen different things, and I share those things with him, good or bad, just so he learns and he knows how to kind of react to those situations that may arise, or, et cetera. But yeah, I think we just have a good dynamic. We blend great together. We're best friends. We do almost kind of everything together when we're with each other. So it's been a perfect scenario.
Josh, you guys have developed a brotherhood, if you will, in that clubhouse. Is this the most connected team you've ever been on, and what is at the heart of that camaraderie?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone we all have the same goal. We all have the same plan here. We all want to win a World Series. We set out multiple goals in the beginning of the season, and we've achieved some of them so far, and we got more to do. But I think just being on the same page with each other all the time, and if things go wrong, it's not getting on each other's backs. It's picking each other up and showing love and support towards each other. Always just trying to get the best out of everyone in the right way, not degrading anyone type of thing. You know what I mean? Just always pushing your teammates to the next level by just hard work and dedication, getting people in the cage, in the gym, on the field, or whatever the case is. Just always wanted to get better each and every way with each other. As individual as this game is when it comes to stats, it's obviously a team game, and when the whole team's on the same page and on the same boat, anything can be accomplished, no matter the age, the talent level, whatever. We just all ride for each other all the time, and we love each other kind of like endlessly, and it's honestly really cool to see and be a part of, and I'm very, very thankful for everyone here, to the top of the organization to the bottom. Whenever we have rookies come up, it's like they've been here for the whole year. It's just love from the beginning once they get here, and involve them in whatever we do in the locker room, whether it's play cards, play a board game, just hang out, talk with each other. Like everyone's involved with everything, and I think that's why we had such a successful year, and hopefully continuous success.
You shared with us during spring training how challenging your rehab was after your injury. Have you allowed yourself any time to reflect on the gratitude that you've had throughout the course of the year, or how fulfilling this season has been for you that you've been able to stay healthy and perform so well?
I don't know if it's a good short story to share, but I think yesterday, in the first inning, don't tell Savali this, please. I think before he threw his first pitch, I was just kind of like looking in the stands, like, and I was really just thinking about my rehab and everything I kind of went through, and I wasn't paying attention to him getting set up to ready to throw. And once he released the ball, I'm like, oh my God, the ball's in play, and like I had to get ready. And I was really just thinking about a lot of what I went through and the fact that this was 162, and I've been healthy the whole year, or majority of the year, and it's been a great year for the team, for individuals on the team. It's been phenomenal. So yeah, don't tell Savali that. I didn't tell him yet. But I was locked in the whole game. Just that one pitch, I was kind of just not really there. But when he released it, I was all there.
How much was your brother part of your rehab process?
I think both my brothers and my whole entire family. I mean, my teammates as well. I think everyone played a big part in it because, you know, I had a lot of people reaching out to me, asking me how I'm doing, if I need any help with anything. I mean, it was a whole team of work that helped me. It wasn't just me by myself. Obviously, I did the work on my own, but the emotional side of it and the side of it where, you know, people are there to help you, and you kind of, it's good to ask for help once in a while and, you know, have people just kind of do things for you when you know you can't, and if you do it, you can get hurt more. So it wasn't just me. I got to give credit to, you know, my family, my brothers, obviously, my parents, my teammates, the coaching staff here, the training staff. Everyone played a role in my rehab some way, somehow, and I think that's why I'm here right now, healthy, and being able to play the game I love with all these guys.
Josh, some of your teammates have said that night in Chicago was the night they started to believe when you hit the 2 homers. Was that too early in the season, or was that really the night where you guys really thought, well, we've got something here?
I mean, I started to believe the first day of spring training. That was just another night for me, to be honest. Play the game hard every night, and great things happen, or it just doesn't go your way. That's baseball. And that night was a cool experience because, you know, we fought from a lot of runs down, and I think we had the opportunity to do that, you know, every year. We're never out of a game, and that was just that was huge for us in a way where we faced a great team with phenomenal players on it, faced a great closer, and we were able to come back from such a deficit and, you know, win that game. And it was, I don't know, I believe from day one in spring. I'm not going to say that was the day where, you know, everything kind of turned around, because for me it didn't. It started first day of practice. Like, we knew what we had on the squad. We knew what we were capable of, and from there on it was just try your hardest to win games, no matter how, you know, they don't count how, they count how many.
Josh, the emotion you showed on that night, you know, where does that come from? Because you're such a, you know, you're so soft-spoken. You're, you know, off the field, it seems like you're a different personality. But there are times on the field, like the walk-off against the Twins, and, you know, that night in Chicago, something happens. I mean, where does that emotion that you showed come from?
I mean, I just love my teammates. I love baseball. I love playing at the highest level. I love competing. So I feel like whether it's me or the next guy, whenever you do something like special, you should, you know, have the opportunity to kind of celebrate and, you know, freak out a little bit and enjoy that moment, because it doesn't come often, and it's hard to do. Everyone at this level is the best of the best, and when you're able to do something like that with your teammates and kind of celebrate a win and a big moment with everyone, it's like one of the coolest things ever. So I don't know, I love competing. I love doing well. I love doing not well for myself, but well for the organization and my teammates and stuff. And just, you know, if I'm the guy to do it, then I'm the guy to do it. If it's Jimenez, if it's Noah, Kwan, Hosey, like, it doesn't matter who. You should just have the opportunity to just celebrate with them as grand as you want, because those times don't really come very often. And when they do, it's so exciting, and it's a moment almost like you'll remember forever, not only for yourself, but for everyone who was involved.
Do you tell Tito to have the helmet close by during the playoffs?
Yeah, I should let him know. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it goes well. right.
We got a little break for Tito. You've been to the playoffs, obviously, a lot of veteran teams. Does this feel any different with all these young guys?
I mean, the whole year's kind of felt a little different because every time we go through something, it's kind of for the first time. So, it hasn't held us back, but I don't think when you're a veteran player and you go through a tough time, okay, you have something to fall back on. These guys have kind of been doing it as they're learning. Now, they've done a pretty good job of it. We just told them now, just play the game the way you know how to play baseball. That's, this is why they work so hard, is to get to this where they can enjoy, and embrace the competition. I don't see them backing down. There's no crystal ball. Tampa's going to probably do the same thing, but see how we do.
Spring training, every year you still say, like, the first day you get butterflies or you have those jitters. Maybe this is a better question for tomorrow, but do you still have some of those feelings now on the...
Oh, I'll be scared to death tomorrow. I mean, I was nervous yesterday in the 9th inning. That'll never change. I don't know. I can remember all the way back at 16, before the first game of the World Series. I went out to the dugout like an hour early because I had anxiety, and Knapp was out there. I'm like, "What are you doing out here?" He goes, "I'm scared to death." Like, me too. But I mean, it as long as it doesn't get in the way, that's okay. You want to use it to your advantage. If you're a player, use the adrenaline to your advantage. It just, that's. You don't want to back away now. You don't want to shy away now.
Why do you think you still have that feeling? Is it just how much you love competing and it's...
We work really hard to try to see how good we can be. Now you have a chance where, I don't know how, I should know this. I don't know how many teams are still left. I should know this. But there's not a ton. It's an honor. So you want to enjoy. I don't think you need to wait till the end to see if you win to think like, well, did I enjoy this? I do enjoy what we're doing. There's a lot of ups and downs during the course of a year, but I enjoy who I do it with. And, again, it doesn't mean there's not difficult times or difficult conversations, but we're pretty fortunate here. We got a good group, and we know that.
So, as you know, I played for you 25 years ago. All right, so
thanks for that.
So just remind you. So could you give me a sense of, like, Terry Francona, the manager in 1998 and 2022? I mean, how are you different?
Well, I had a lot more energy then. I could throw batting practice. You know what, Dougie? I mean, I knew I was learning on the run then, and I knew it. But I also knew how I felt about the players. And then when you get with teams that maybe have a little bit deeper roster, but you still know how you feel about the players, that's when it has a chance to get pretty special. I mean, looking back, those 4 years were I learned so much. But I really felt like I needed to, you remember that nucleus. It was you and Bronya and Roland and Lieberthal, young guys that were still finding their way in the league. And I felt like it was my responsibility to kind of protect you guys a little bit and help you, learn how to get there, even if that meant taking some bullets myself. I still feel that way. I'd rather somebody from the media think that I don't know what I'm doing rather than throw a player under the bus. I just think it works better that way.
Jerry, I'm sure you're preoccupied with trying to outwit the other manager, but what kind of challenges can Shane McClanahan pose?
Well, I think he's thrown 161 innings and 112 hits. That's a pretty good one right there. They just, they go about it a little differently than most teams, and they're used to doing it that way. So, you're going to have some balance in your lineup, because they're going to come at you with not just left-right, but different ways of left-right. So the more balance you can have. Sometimes you set up your lineup knowing that, okay, we have to beat this starter, knowing that you're probably not setting it up for the bullpen. I think you need to keep that in mind, that bullpen's out there and how they're configured when you do your lineup.
Right. And as far as McClanahan, you guys did okay against him in July.
Yeah, I mean, we beat him. It was not like we knocked him around the ballpark. That was 3 months ago. Can barely remember last week.
I know you made the comment about barely remembering last week. Today is the 10-year anniversary of your hire here.
Really?
Yeah, 10 years ago today.
Well, I did not know that.
You've obviously had a lot of postseason success here. As fans get excited for this time of year, what would you like to share about what you most enjoy about postseason baseball?
I think it would be surprising to people just how much we do enjoy it. I mean, I spoke about being nervous and a little bit scared, but you work so hard to get here that I do enjoy it. Like once we had our meeting that's why I wanted to have the meeting last night. We met, yesterday was a long day. We stayed here till, it was a long day. But once we have that meeting, personally, I'm able to relax. Like I said, there's no guarantees that we're going to win, but I know how I feel. We knew what our roster is going to be. We knew conversations we need to have, and it just makes it more like, okay, let's go play baseball. And I like that part of it. That's fun.
Even beyond the baseball part, you spent a substantial part of your life in Cleveland. What does Cleveland mean to you?
Oh, I don't think I've hidden the fact of how special I think this place is. Wish you guys could figure out your weather a little bit better, but I think, I grew up in the same, I grew up an hour and a half from here, and it's the same mentality, the Midwest values. I like the fact that I can get on that little black scooter when the game's over, and win or lose, the policeman high-five me, or, that's, you can't do that in a lot of places.
You talked a lot about your relationship with Cash, but when you were laid up and all these, did you rely on him more, like call him a lot, or I just wonder how did your relationship evolve kind of then?
No, I think we've actually always had a really good relationship. And when you're in the middle of the season, you don't always just pick up the phone, and out of respect to him too, like, but he doesn't have to. Like, I know that, like, I'd probably get more calls from him when something happens that's funny or something stupid, but he doesn't have to call me. I know he cares about me, and he knows I care about him.
Any stupid thing you could share?
We were reminiscing a little bit the other night, and we were talking, because he had mentioned that my first year here, remember Santana was catching, and Santana had backpicked in a situation that I didn't think was a very good time to do it. And I kind of had my arm around him, and I said, now, Carlos, this is why we don't do this, and let's move forward. He looked at me and he goes, do you remember when I did that in Boston? And I said, no. He goes, you put your arm around me. He said, dumbass, if you ever do that again.
We talked to you a lot about this year in terms of this young team and how that's kind of energized you in a way. How much is the style you guys play, the throwback, the game that you grew up playing, how much has that energized you?
A lot. The fact that these guys bought in so much, and then Valleca really did a good, I mean, man, you talk about every day having to show up, because we don't have the ability to kind of, usually hit a 3-run homer and maybe play a sloppy game and win, but to see all the work that everybody puts in, and how, like, listening to him last night, his preparation just for that meeting makes you feel good. But I love the way I would think our team is an easy team to like. They're good kids. I know we got a couple that aren't kids, but they're good people, and they treat the game with so much respect. I hope people want to show up and help them out, because they deserve it.
As you just alluded to, neither one of these teams is like oriented around power, and the postseason, particularly in recent years, has been very much oriented around power. Is there kind of an opportunity for both of these clubs to show kind of a different way to advance?
Well, I mean, one of us is gonna. I'm not that smart, but I bet you one of us moves on. But I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead. Again, I wish we did hit some 3-run more homers, but we have what we have, and so rather than make excuses, we're trying to find a way to win. That's just deal with what you have.
Your style is going to cause trouble for many teams. You mentioned the Rays and how you've got to be balanced against them. What else makes them tough to play?
Well, they're very athletic also. I mean, they got a ton of stolen bases, and they're not afraid to run. So our pitchers are going to need to pay attention to that, because if they start having a track meet, kind of like we do, it can create some issues. So the ball needs to end up where it's supposed to, and our pitchers are going to have to be cognizant that they do want to run. Now, the best way to stop that is by keeping them off base, but that's probably not going to happen every single time. I don't want to really give you how we do it, because I think it's kind of a strategy. I think you know me well enough. I don't like to we certainly have a must go, but I think guys are better base stealers when they understand the situation is right, but we don't just necessarily make them go on a pitch. And that's where Sandy comes in so much. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to be looking up, somebody's running, and I'm like, why the hell are we running there? But I also don't think we just want to tell guys on specific pitch, unless it's 3-1, 3-2, things like that, just because I think they're better base stealers. And our guys have proven they understand how we want to do it, so that you can you can let them play. I just don't think when you're telling teams to go from A to B to C to D, it gets too mechanical. When they can show their athletic ability, especially if they have it, I think they play freer, and I think it's more enjoyable for them. They just have to stick to some parameters that we have, and they know. And I've told them, man, if you guys play like you play, I'll stay out of the way. And they do a good job of that.
Every time you see Kluber, does it take you back? Do you have flashbacks to his big?
I don't flashback too well. Like I was telling earlier, I barely remember last week. I mean, he could be in 15 different uniforms, and there'll always be a fondness for him. What he accomplished here, how he accomplished it, the kind of kid he is. Those will always be wonderful memories, always. Now, if he pitches.
Hola amigos, soy Alex Bueno y un saludo muy especial a la gente de la máquina deportiva. ¡Ay, Dios mío!
Yo soy Jeremy Peña y sigan con la máquina deportiva. Yo soy Jeremy Peña y sigan con la máquina deportiva.